ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्विताश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य तोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजय आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 17, verse number 13. So we read the subduing of Kaliya by Sri Krishna and how Kaliya worshipped Krishna along with his wives and especially gave him the Kaustubha gem, which was lying in his treasury for a long time, so he is happy to get it back. And then we read the story why Kaliya came to this place, because of the fear of Garuda. So now he describes what happened after that when Krishna came out all nicely decorated. So he came out and he did not get wet because he walked on water. Some yogis have siddhi of walking on the water. Long ago there was some yogi who wanted to demonstrate that, but he fell down into the swimming pool. So Krishna came out intact, not a drop of water, because he says that he was in the head of one snake who carried him. So he says, Krishnam hridadvu niskrantam divya sragandha vasasam mahamani gana kirnam jambu nada pariskritam uplabhya uthita sarve labdha prana ivasavaha pramoda nibhritatmano gopa pritya bhire bhire. So when Krishna came out from the lake, and he was very nicely decorated, had divine garlands, fragrance, beautiful dress, and great ornaments, gem, and golden ornaments, jambunad pariskritam. So when they saw him coming, then they all got up, sarve utthita, labdha prana iva asava, just like the senses come to life when they attain life air. So they were absorbed in great ecstasy, pramoda nibhritatmano, gopaha pritya abhire bhire. So they embraced him full of love. So you can imagine how they must have been when they saw Krishna in the clutches of the snake, and now they are so happy to have him. So upodghatam samapya prastutamaha Krishnamiti. So Sukadeva Goswami, he explained that story, which was like an introduction. Now he comes back to the original subject. So in these two slokas, he is explaining how Krishna was received. So Visheshena Niskrantam iti Jalo upari eva charnabhyam eva santaran laghve naiva iti. So he came just being on top of the water, and not that he was walking through the water. So Kaliya dishtam kamapi sarpam alakshitam arohya evati jayam. So it is understood that Kaliya has sent some snake, so he was not seen by others. So he rode on that, on the head of the snake, and he came out. But he has to definitely maintain a balance. Right? So that much he has to do. Otherwise, if you don't maintain a balance, you'll fall into the water. So therefore it says Laghvena. Laghvena means with great expertise. Laghav means expertise here. Laghu means small, and expert means you can do things quickly, fast, nicely. If you are not expert, you can take long time. So that is Gauravena. So Laghav here means expertly, means without wetting his dress. That is the expertise. So the snake was not seen by others. So they just thought that this is some magic he is doing, walking on the water. So anyatha anganam jala aplutatve divya sragandha vasam iti visheshnam sadhu nopapadyate. So why is he making this type of comment? Because when commentators make comment, they also have to justify it, not that they just make up something. So he says, because here it says that they saw him with this nice dress, garland, and fragrant perfumes and paste. So if he would have become wet, all this will be wet, and they will not see it. So since the description is like this, so you have to then do some adhyahar. You have to apply certain things. You have to assume, right? So, Devdatta Divana Bhunte, Ratro Bhunte. That's what called Anyathanupatti Praman. That if this is true, then you have to assume something. Either you have to assume that he floated by his yogic power, or you have to assume that some snake brought him. So trying to be more human-like, he says that he was brought by a snake. So asava indriyani, so labdha prana eva asava. Asava here means senses, although asu itself means life. But asava and then prana cannot go together, having the same sense. So therefore it says asava means the indriyani. And pramoda nibhrit atmana. So pramoda means joy, atma means mind. So they were very joyous, and nibhrit means full of. So full of joy in their mind. And Gopa, he refers Gopa here specifically to his friends, because others are described later there. So he says Gopa Sakhaya Teshameva Taralyena Prathamya Achityat. So why Gopas first and his friends also? Gopa is specifically referring to his friends, because they are more quick. Others are more senior people, these are young boys, and they are his friends. So they are the first one to run to embrace him. They are waiting for him. So therefore, other Gopas also will come, but they will come later on. So therefore he comments that the Gopa here refers specifically to his friends. So you see, the commentators have to think very deeply about the sloka to make comments, because you can also just say, well, Gopa means cowherd man, simple. But he says no, this Gopa here refers specifically to the young friends. And why? Because they are more eager. Everybody is eager, but they are more, hyper, you can say, being young. That should say Tarallen. So therefore they came first.
I think we haven't read the verse before. Is Tatkalya Param Veda in the last class? Maybe could you read this also? I think we haven't done it in the last class.
No, we did that, I remember.
Avatsi?
Yeah, I remember this. This Leliha. No one else knew it except him. This was done. Yashoda Rohini Nando Gopyo Gopascha Kaurava Krishnam Sameta Labdheha Asan Shushka Nagapi. So he says then Yashoda, Rohini, Nanda Maharaj, other gopis and other cowherd men of Parikshit Maharaj, they all came near Krishna and their wish was fulfilled in this way. Asan Shushka Nagapi. And then it is described that even the dry trees became green when they saw Krishna. Shushka Nagapi Asan. So they also got back their life. They were burned by Kaliya. So they were revived by Krishna. Tato ha putra jivasi iti gadgad swara guru lajja bhaya prashnavadi nirpeksha ati vivala Shri Yashoda. So the first person then who is mentioned here is Shri Yashoda, who was very vivala, means very agitated and he said, "Oh my son, you are alive." And in this faltering voice she came to Krishna. And Guru Lajja Bhaya Prashrayadi Nirpeksha, not caring for the elderly people who may be standing there or any fear or respect to them, she just ran to Krishna. Means not following the general code or protocol. The ladies generally they are shy, they stay back, and men are in front. So she did not care for that. Tatastat sakhitva iti sakhitvati nibidtaya tadabhita praptasu madhye mukha rohini. And then next to her is Rohini, who is the chief among all the other gopis, who are all closely surrounding her. So there are many other gopis and she was in the midst. So then Rohini was the next one among them. And tataha premotkanthya chulukita gambhiryo vilamba sahishnu stri sammardha madhyeva pravishya Nanda. And then came Nanda Maharaj. So that is another thing, when there are ladies around, then men do not just come there. So he also gave up his graveness. Means senior men, they don't enter where there are ladies. So they maintain their distance. So he says that because of eagerness of love for Krishna, Premotkanthya, Chulukita Gambhirya, so his Gambhirya was kept aside. And Vilamba Sahishnu, not able to tolerate any delay in meeting Krishna, so he entered into the crowd of the women, Stri Samvardha Mandheva Pravishya Nanda. And then because he did it, then other cowherd men followed. Tato anya gopyo vatsala gopascha upanandade. And then other elderly gopis and also cowherd men such as Nanda, Upananda. Nanda is there, Upananda, Sunanda, etc. All the brothers, family members. And cha is used here. Cha is an interesting word in Sanskrit. It can mean a lot of things. So it says chakarena anuraginya pururagavatya gopyasya. So cha implies the other young gopis who were in love with Krishna. So they are standing far. So durta lochana anjali bhireva sametya parisangadi bhi sangati bhuya labdha cheshta labdha vanchita mrita eva jivantyo babhu kim bahuna. So then they who were little further away, so they saw Krishna with the palms of their eyes, lochana anjali, as if they are holding or they are touching with their anjali of eyes, sametya parisangadi bhi sangati bhuya. And they came around, labdha cheshta, labdha vanchita. And in this way they also attained their wish fulfilled, as if they have come back to life from death. Kim bahuna nagastire vriksha abhava dure vrindavanastha vrikshapi tat sadharme praptya krishnam adrishtva shokat suska stam punardrishtva labdeha ankur pallava pushpadya udgambanta. So the trees which were a little far away, who has also lost their life when Krishna went into the lake. So, because there were no trees at the bank of the lake, it was already described that all the trees on the bank of that lake, they all died. So it says, Nagastire vriksha bhava dure vrindavanastha. So these were trees which were further down. So they also attained Krishna. Tat sadharmya praptya Krishna madrishtva shokat. So they were also feeling the separation from Krishna like other people, having the same mood. So now they also became joyous. Means all their trees and flowers, they bloomed by seeing him. Ramaschachutam alingya jahasasyanubhavavit premnatamankam aropya punar punar udakshata gavo vrisha vatsataryo lebhire paramamudam. And then next is Balaram. So then Balaram came and he embraced Krishna and he laughed because he knew Krishna's power. Tasya anubhavavit. So he knew what he was doing, therefore he was laughing. And then he took Krishna in his lap out of love, premna tamankam aropya, and he was looking at him again and again. And similarly the cows, the bulls, the calves, they all became very blissful by seeing Krishna returning from the lake. So jahasa iti dhanyo asya evam kartum yujyate. So why he laughed? He says, certainly this is very good because it is appropriate for him to do this. And iti uktva tat prabhavajyo api premna puna puna utkarshene akshat. And although he knows Krishna's power, his prowess, but still he was looking at him repeatedly. So he says, why was he looking? He says, Kaliya hatkene kachit kshatastu na bhuriti na bhalayat. He was inspecting if Kaliya has made any marks on his body by biting. So therefore he was inspecting his body. That's the meaning of seeing him again and again. Nandam vipraha samagatya gurvaha sakalatrakaha uchuste kaliya grasto dishtya mukta stavatmajaha. Then the Brahmanas came. It's a good time to come for the Brahmanas. So they approached Nanda Maharaj and they came along with their wives. So Vipra, Sakalatraka, these are senior Brahmanas who are also the family priests of Nanda Maharaj. So Gurava, so they came and they said, look Nanda Maharaj, your son Tava Atmajaha Kaliya Grasta Dishtya Mukta. He was caught by Kaliya, but now by good fortune he has been released. So what about a feast? Right? It's a good occasion for that. So why not give some dakshina? So Dehi Danam Dijati Nam Krishna Nirmukti Hetave Nanda Prit Manarajan Ga Suvarna Tadadishat. So they said that you should give some charity to the Brahmanas for the sake, for this reason that Krishna got released. So out of happiness, do some charity to the Brahmanas. So Nanda Maharaj, he was very happy, and therefore in that very affectionate and pleasant mood, he gave cows gold, etc. in charity. Of course, it is not described how he got the gold there on the bank. So maybe the ornaments he was putting on his body, Yashoda, Rohini says, take out these necklaces, give it in the charity, we'll make new ones for you. Cows were there anyway. Otherwise he has to go home to do the charity. So anyway, he gave some gold. Gold means golden ornaments and cows. Yashodapi Mahabhaga Nashtalabdha Praja Sati Parisajvankam Aropya Mumocha Shru Kalam Muhu. And Yashoda also, the greatly fortunate who has lost her son, now she took Krishna, embraced him, put Krishna in her lap, and a flood of tears came from her eyes again and again. Okay. So Malati, this word sati is here in this sloka, and this is what I was saying in this chapter 17. This word sati is not the way it has been translated. Sati means chaste woman, and not sati like having been or anything like that.
Being, okay.
So either it has to be translated as sati. There is the adjective of earth, ujjita sati. But because the word sadhvi is already used there, so it doesn't make much sense. It says sadhvi and sati both mean same. But anyway, the word sati there does not mean having been or like that. It's not that sati saptami type of sense. So either you have to change that there to adhuna, which is the reading in Gita Press, or you have to change the translation of sati. I made my comment on that anyway. So there is not much comment on this. It says Guruvo Bhaguri Adi Purohita. So Guru here means Bhaguri. That is, Bhaguri also comes in grammar. Bhaguri Mat in Panini comes for some lope. Like these words like avatansa, you can also use vatansa. Apidhan, you can also say pidhan. That is Bhaguri Mat. So he was also some big grammarian before Panini, because Panini mentions. So he's supposed to be Nanda Maharaj's Purohit. So Brahmanas also got benefited. Everybody got benefited. Kalya got benefited. Right? Tam ratrim tatra rajendra kshutrabhyam shramakar sitaha ushu vrajaka sogava kalindya upakulataha. So now this is something interesting, that now when he came out, they did not go back home. This seems little strange, that they will not go back home. So they spent the night on the bank. We have this Davanal Kund here. That's where they slept. So he says, Tam ratrim tat Rajendra kshut trudbhyam shramakarsita. Ushu. So they spent that night there only, O king, while being tormented by hunger and thirst, and also tired. So the reason why they did not go back is they were tired. But what did they eat? Maybe they drank some milk from the cows. There is nothing else here. So Vrajakuso Gava Kalindya Kulata. So they spend the time near Yamuna river along with the cows. So the reason being that they were tired. And commentator gives another meaning. अतः परमद्य रात्रौ वयं कृष्णं निर्निमेषं पश्यन्त एव स्थाम. So they said that tonight we will stay here while guarding Krishna, because the snake can come back and attack. So therefore we should stay here and we should guard, we should make round the clock that duty in turn. Some of them will stay awake, others will sleep. So bhagyat gatopi kaliya punaryadi vairam shishadhaishur ayati tada militi bhuya lakutair varyam. He says, by chance, although Kaliya has left, fortunately, but he may come back to take revenge, because snakes are very vengeful, they are angry by nature. So he may come back to take revenge. So if he comes back, then we will beat him up with the sticks. And this way we will protect Krishna. So therefore we will stay here. So natu darshan vyavadhayakam swasva griham yame. So why not go back? Because if you go back, one thing is that Kaliya would not know where to find him unless he is good at smelling and following this bodily smell, like dogs can trace, right? So maybe he can do that. So they thought that if we go, then we will all go to our houses and then we will not see Krishna. But if we stay here, then there is no way, we have to be together only. So therefore we stay here. So iti sarvesham manoratham alakshya nandadya vrajoksa upkulatah vishjaladi bhayat kul samipam paritajya vushu. So Nanda Maharaj, he realized that all the Brajvasis, they want to be with Krishna, they don't want to leave him. So then he thought, better we stay here, but then they went little away from the lake because it was poisonous, although Krishna has cleared it. So therefore it says Kulta. Anyatha davagnina sarvata avaran asiddhi. And if they are not little far away, then also what is described later on, that they were all surrounded by fire, will not be possible. Because if they were on the bank of Yamuna, then at least one side there will be river, and there is fire can only happen on the other side, and they can all enter into the river water. But as the story will come, that they were caught in the fire, and fire was all around them, so that means they went further down inside the forest, and they were surrounded by fire. They got caught in the fire. So that's the reason. So tada suchivanodbhuto davagni sarvato vrajam suptam nishitha avritya pradagdhum upachakrame. So then what happened that at that time in the midnight, Nishitha is midnight, then there was a forest fire because it was summer time. Suchi. Suchi is summer, Jyesht Mas, it's called Suchi. So that's when the dry heat is there, everything is dry. Jyesht Ashad. And then this fire was all around them. They were all sleeping. So Suptam Avritya Pradagdhum Chakre. When they were sleeping, so it started burning all around them. So they got caught in the forest fire. So Shuchi here means Grisma, this was summertime. Davagni Rayam Kansa Anuchara Kaliya Sakha Kaschid Asura iti Kechidav. Some people say that this fire, how this fire suddenly happened there, and that also at night. There is no matchstick there. Nobody is living here. It's not that somebody was making some chapati, something. Making fire was not easy in those days. Right? There were no lighters, none of these things. So how did fire start? So he says that Kaliya had a friend who was also associate of Kamsa. So when he came to know that Kaliya has been thrown out from here, so he came to take revenge. And he put the forest fire. So that, or he became the forest fire. So that was the forest fire. Tata utthaya sambhranta dahiyamana vrajaukshaha krishnam yayuste sharanam maya manujam ishwaram. So then everybody woke up and it was all fire all around. Already some people were awake anyway because they were guarding. So they woke up everybody. So they saw the terrible fire all around. And they were sambhranta, they were bewildered what to do. So they all approached Krishna and took his shelter, who was Ishvara, hidden as human being. So Vrajaukasa Vrajastha Krishi Valadhyaha Maya Swarupenaiva Manujam Swarup Bhutya Nitya Shaktya Mayakhya Tisrute. So Vrajoksha is Vrajvasi, the residents of Vraja. It also includes the farmers, etc. So Krishna is called Maya Manujeshwara. So Maya here refers to his very nature. So means he's Maya Manuj here means he is a natural human being. Means he is not making a show or acting or anything. Swarup Bhutya Nitya Shaktya Mayakhya iti Srute. So Maya means by his own Swarup Shakti, he is a human being. Swaranam Yayuriti Aho Asmakam Prana Sankat Samaye Asminneva Balke Swaprasada Udbhuto Narayana Avishya Asman Palayati. So why did they take shelter of Krishna? Because they are all grown up, he is a young boy, why should they go to him? Because they know that whenever we have any problem, then our worshipable deity Narayana becomes manifest in this boy and protects us. So in the villages there is a belief like that. There are some people on whom, you have seen this in Bengal sometime?
Just a couple of weeks ago, I met a guy in the field who was telling me that.
Tell story. These are Indian stories. I have seen this in the village life. Actually happening.
I was just saying that exactly what you're mentioning. Just a few weeks back, I was walking in a field in Howrah district, and some fellow was cutting bamboo on the riverside, and he walked up and, "Where are you from?" and then starts telling me his whole story of how he went to some temple and some Brahmin took him to some other person, and then there's this special time when the Brahman gets possessed by the Deva and he starts talking, and whatever he says is whatever you need to hear, and exactly one of these type of things. So
Yeah, these are common things.
still today it
Yeah,
goes
still
on.
going on. This is exactly what you say. So because they don't think that Krishna is God or anything like that. He says just that whenever problem comes, then our deity manifests in him to protect us. And anyway, Garga Muni has said this. So that's what he's saying, that Anena Sarv Durgani Yuyam Anja Starishyatha. And Garga Muni has predicted when he did the name giving ceremony that through this boy you will transcend all your problems. So he says, therefore let's go to him and pray. Narayan will come and protect us. So iti gargokte stamimam samprati Sri Narayana avistam krishnam eva narayanattvena vishrabhya vipatranartham sharanam yama iti vimrishyati bhava. So therefore they went to him, that Narayana will enter into him, and then as Narayana he is going to make us cross our vipat, our problem. So they had this belief, and therefore they took shelter of Krishna, thinking like this. So then they said, Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga He Rama Amita Vikrama Esha Ghoratamo Vanni Stavakan Graste Hina. So they said, O Krishna, O greatly fortunate one, O the supremely powerful Balaram, look, this terrible fire is swallowing us who belong to you, who are your surrendered people. So in this way they requested him. He Rama iti tasyapi taddine sarvajyat darshanad ayamapi Krishna bhrata devavishta anumanat. So why they are also addressing Balaram along with Krishna? Because today they saw that this Balaram is also some special guy. Because when everybody was crying, he was laughing. So that means he also knows. And this Narayana also comes to him. So these both brothers, they are special. So thinking like that. Sudusturanna swan pahi Kalagne Sruhda Prabho Na Shaknumastava Charanam Santyaktu Akuto Bhayam. So he says that this Kalagni is Sudustara, that this is very difficult to escape. It is like unescapable fire. So please protect us from this fire which is like death, and we are your affectionate people. Why we want to be protected by you? Because we don't want to die. Why? You are afraid of death. He says, then we will not have your association, and we cannot give up you. So we are unable to give up your feet. Santyaktum akuto bhayam, your feet which bring fearlessness. So Kalagne, Kala here means Mrityu, Tadrupa Dagni. So this fire is actually not fire, it is like death personified, because we are being consumed by this fire. So please protect us. Mrityau sati tva charnena saha viyoga bhavet satu dussaha. So what is the problem if you die? Jatasya dhruvam mrityu. Everybody who has taken birth has to die. So if you die, so what will be the problem? So he says, no, we don't want to leave your feet. We want to stay with you. And therefore we want to be protected. So devotees don't want to be separated from Krishna. So itam svajana vaikalyam niriksha jagadishvaraha tamagnim apibat tivram ananto ananta shakti dhrik. So when Sri Krishna saw that how his devotees, they were disturbed and suffering, so then he, who is Jagdishvara, the master of the universe, he drank that fire. Tamagnim apivat, that terrible fire, Tivram. So how could he do this? Because he is Ananta, meaning that he has got unlimited power, Ananta Shakti Dhrak. So how can you drink fire? So just like you can eat water, right? Jal khabo. So if you can eat water, you can drink fire. Right?
Yes.
So therefore,
Deductive reasoning.
so swajan vaikalyavyam drishtva iti swajan vishakastat prema eva tesham rakshanartham. So the meaning that after seeing the trouble, the disturbance of his devotees is that it is the love for his devotees which is the cause in protecting them. So he protected them because of love. Tesham rakshanartham tam ashwaryam anusandhapya maseti bhava. And to protect them he has to manifest his ashwarya. So therefore he manifested it out of love for his devotees. Nanu param sukumaraha katham tivram agnim apibat. So Krishna is described as very soft, that his limbs are very soft. His lotus hand, lotus mouth, lotus face, lotus feet, lotus navel, and lotus is very soft. So how could it drink fire? So he says he is Jagdishwar and he is Ananta. So he is Ananta Shakti Dhrik. Tasya Samharika Shakti Reva Pibat. So why the word Ananta is used? Because Ananta, he also throws fire from his mouth, described in the, where I think it's in the 5th canto. There is a description, or 3rd, exactly. That when it is time for dissolution of the universe, then Ananta Shesh starts throwing fire out of his mouth, and the flames go all up in the universe and they burn everything. So he holds fire, he can also drink fire. So therefore he is called Ananta here, and Ananta Shakti Dhrik. So Shaktimati Tano Tatpanopcharamat. So Tasmin Shaktimati Tatpanopcharamat. So therefore for him it is Ananta who did this, and then it is imposed on Krishna that Krishna drank it. Krishna has Sukumar, a very soft, tender body, he doesn't do this. So he got his expansion of Ananta to drink. So drinking fire means he blew it and extinguished it. So then the fire was gone. So iti sarartha darshinyam harshinyam bhakta chetasam dashme asmin saptadasa sangata satam. So in this way the commentary called Sarartha Darshini has come to an end on this 17th chapter of 10th canto, commentary which gives pleasure to the heart of devotees, which is written in the association of devotees and approved by them. So that is the end of 17th chapter. So small one.
Babaji, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Nanda Baba and Yashoda also were part of that group with prayed to Krishna that we are free, all that.
Yes.
Because they saw Narayan in him.
Yeah, because Garga Muni has told Nanda Maharaj that you will cross all problems with the help of this boy. And he told him that he has Narayana Samaguna. That's the word he used. He has qualities like Narayana.
But then how do they let him carry shoes on the head, or Yashoda runs after him with a stick? It seems contrary to that mood.
No, that is it's only sometimes when Narayana becomes manifest in him. It's not Narayana himself. That's why
Oh, I see.
we're telling the story in the villages. They have these kind of things, or belief that some person, the Devi comes on that person and everybody goes to that person, ask for blessings, or they ask, we have this problem, what should we do? Then the person on whom the Devi has come, or that Devata has come, then he tells him solution. So they do it.
So in those examples, generally there are some situations that happened, right? I mean, the person goes into trance or thoughts strange, that also.
Yeah.
So then in this case, Krishna, what was there some prelude to it where suddenly they recognize that Narayan is now entered? Because the way the text is presented is there was danger and then they just ran to him.
Well, you have to know a few things from outside. This is not, the text is not going to tell you all the stories like that. Those things you understand. Otherwise it will become Mahabharata to give all those details.
So that means I should understand that somehow Krishna manifested Aishwarya to them. Then they saw Narayan and then they started praying to him.
No, they don't
Right?
see Narayana in him. It's like the village people don't see Devi in him, but they see that now Devi is manifest in him. Devi comes. One day somebody, one Goswami from Radhakund brought one man to me. And he says, Devi comes to him. I said, really? This must be 2 years ago, before the COVID started. Yeah, in the winter time, just before COVID came. And I said, what is this? So then this guy did that, his act, right here in my room. So he went into that bhav and this and that, and I was sitting on my seat, and then this guy who brought him, his Goswami, he immediately went down from the seat, and he was falling at his feet and praying, and he asked me also to come down. So I also came down from my seat and he went to respect him. I didn't believe it, but what is there, If you can pay respect to Devi somewhere, I can also pay respect here. So then I said, you can ask him something now, you can ask her. I said, but I have nothing to ask. He said, no. Something. I said, but I have nothing to ask, what can I ask? So he was then doing mata this, mata that, and all that kind of thing he was doing. And they were shant. So I saw this whole thing. So it just was. And then before this, they were telling all kinds of about him, and he himself was telling this happened, that happened. Otherwise, he was just a normal worker, like a construction type of worker. people have this ideas. In Brazil also I heard there is a lot of things like that. What, Jadu Gopal? I heard that in Brazil also they have this kind of things.
Yes, Maharaj. It's very common in Brazil to have this. Then we have some native religions that's part of their rituals. So almost every day this happens. You can see it. It's very common.
So it will be good to bring some of them here in Indian villages and have like a competition,
Yes, yes. It's basically the same thing. They say that there is some god that goes down that person, and they ask blessings and give offerings to them. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
And ask also blessings.
there was also one Brazilian lady who came here and she lived with us for like more than 1 year. And she was some kind of a guru, and she was with one man living with here, and she was also having this. She joined also ISKCON for some time, then she left, but now she was like Krishna. She was talking to Krishna. She also wanted to translate my Bhagavad Gita into Portuguese, and she made a contract with me. And how she came here, that she, I don't know, she came to know, and he says, I have been directed to meet you. And then I don't know how they left, something happened. Yeah, so she was also having this kind of
hallucinations.
whatever, I don't know. But
Yeah.
she was all,
Unfortunately, it's very common.
yeah, she was talking about Bhakti and Krishna and Rasa, and she had a website, and I'm trying to get these young people into this, and this is the way to attract it and all that. I didn't understand.
There are some indigenous religions in Brazil, Maharaj, that the people use ayahuasca, that's a drug. So there is a big group in Brazil that's called the Vaishnavas who use drugs like that. So it's very common, this kind of mentality.
Yeah, she also actually was having some philosophy. She wrote a book also, and I may have somewhere some of her paper and theories. Yeah, I heard about this ayahuasca, but it's a good name, Ayahuasca. Many people take this ayahuasca. Okay, any other question?
Babaji, would you say that these people have just vata disturbance, or what is it exactly?
Yeah, they all need Shirodhara for like few months with Brahmi Vati 3 times a day, and breakfast they need to eat halwa with a lot of ghee. At night they should drink milk with ghee in it. They follow this diet for some time, and this deva will disappear because he got his diet in.
I had also one realization. I saw also this kind of incorporation in Brazil, and what
In
also
Brazil?
yes.
Okay.
What also happens is that then when the people are incorporated by the devata, then they often also demand, bring me alcohol, bring me, cigarettes or something like this, and then they smoke and smoke and smoke and drink liters, which is normally completely impossible for any normal body to digest. But then I thought maybe this person is really not identifying with the action and therefore doesn't get the result, and therefore it's just happening.
Yeah, maybe some evil spirit comes,
Doesn't have the Ankriti Bhava, so it's
Okay. So
Just
Harinama
one
will
more question, Babaji.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about this fire demon? The other ones are symbolize certain negative qualities. Do we know anything about this one?
Well, I've never heard. This is the first time I read in the commentary. Never heard anything before that. But Krishna's fire is supposed to be the mouth of God. We do yajna in fire. So fire is supposed to be mouth of God. So therefore he is taking fire in the mouth. It can be seen like that.